right?
Yeah.
Extreme.
Play the song as we welcome Dr. Batson for today's program, my friends. The program Overcoming Health Issues Naturally, right here on Sky 95, and of course on his Facebook page as well. Dr. Batson, sir, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Doing well today. How are you, my friend?
I am good.
All right.
I am good.
So, I know that you walked in. I saw when you walked in, I really did. I saw when you walked in. I said, well, all right. I got a message, 10 minutes before that to say, well, all right. No problem. You know, it's just going to be one of those days with Dr. Batson, and everybody will say, but Dominic, he's the reason the man has reached late, you know.
Oh, really? How come?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know what it is, like you just know you come in, so it's a cool vibes. Sure.
Oh gosh, no.
Sure, when you reach, we'll start the party, that's it.
No, sometimes I'm genuinely on my bed looking at the ceiling like, okay, it's Sunday. You know, people just think you're superhuman, but I am not. I'm like, well, most people sometimes, not all the time.
The source for the Santulan. The figure has the source for Santulan.
Yeah. That I have unlimited sources of energy.
Right.
Sometimes the energy is not a problem. You know? Sometimes it's just the mental state of mind. Because it takes a lot to come and sit down and do a program. Yeah, I mean, people who know me and know me well, I can't remember the last time I did research to come and do a program, honestly. Because I eat, live, and sleep this. So, I mean, it's, but still, it is mentally taxing, especially to talk consistently for 2 hours. And I'm not talking rubbish. And then I have people asking questions and that kind of thing. But, no excuses. They say to whom much is given, much is expected. So I'm not complaining. All right?
All that tonic thing you take.
You understand? So, a pleasant good morning to our listeners on Sky 99.5. Always a pleasure to be in your company. Always a pleasure to be invited into your homes. A pleasant good morning to our Facebook listeners. We don't have a lot of persons online already. Miss Pamela Moses, Miss Joyce Dick, Miss Joe Phil Annette, Miss Colt, Miss June Jatan, Miss Otley, Miss Ava Stevens. Pleasant good morning to all you guys. And of course, I'll be going in and out with Dominic as well as with Facebook. So, interestingly, this morning discussion, I'm going to discuss something. I don't think I ever discussed this before, simply because the question was never asked, and maybe I discussed it, but in a different way. And what we're going to speak, because I personally do not like diagnosis per se, and some people might find that to be, ridiculous. So this man is a doctor, or, in medicine, and he doesn't like diagnosis. And the reason for that is because a lot of the times your diagnosis don't make any difference. It's irrelevant. And I had given the example about the mosquitoes and the stagnant water, which I love so much. So I will continue to use it because I find it so easy, to understand. where a lot of times you have been given diagnosis, and you would realize that the diagnosis is not important. Ms. Joyce Dick is asking, do you have eye and circulation? Team Ms. Dick, no, we haven't gotten it as yet. We're looking at next week, please God, hopefully. So as soon as you get, your name is down in on the list. So as soon as we get, we're going to make sure and call you. Okay? Yeah. So, you know, it has a lot to do with the matter of energy and low energy, because sometimes you find you feel tired, you feel exhausted, and you don't know why. And the thing is, the tiredness and the exhaustion is not only physically tired and exhausted at times, but you know, your mood is one that is you're not in a good mood. You know, you're actually becoming known to be a Grinch. You know, everybody will see you from it and they see you, it's like, oh God, people just turn in the opposite direction. You know, you just have those people in the office, you know, from the time they come in and walk in the door, it's like a sourness. You can't deal with them. Oh God, look, Mr. Sour or Miss Sour Rich. Dominic, were you ever told that you are sour?
Yeah.
Okay, by people of relevance, and that they actually had a legitimate reason for saying that. Okay, so take out the people of relevance aspect and just look at the legitimacy of the statement. So it might be people that you mightn't really like or fancy, but is it that the statement was a legitimate statement? Are you aligned sometime, or most of the time, or all the time?
I tell people all the time, I am readily available to admit that I'm a grumpy person most days. I'm real grumpy.
All right. So you okay? So people, Dominic is a Grinch. He's a grumpy. Yeah. So not the best example.
Not especially morning times. Yeah, that's me
right. Right. So we know there are some people are morning people, and there are some people tend to be more evening people. And interestingly, you might actually have, because you know I was saying I don't really believe in diagnosis. However, there's a condition known as adrenal fatigue. And I decided to speak about adrenal fatigue today simply because there are a lot of people walking around with adrenal fatigue and they don't know that is adrenal fatigue that they have. Now, I mean, back to what I said where your diagnosis is not really important. It simply means that the adrenal glands, which is one of the most important glands in the endocrine system, the adrenal gland is actually responsible for the production of cortisol. And you know that cortisol is the stress hormone, right? Now, like with everything in the body always strives to maintain homeostasis, balance, equilibrium, right? So the thing is, if you have too much cortisol, you can be in problems. And if you have too little cortisol, you could be in problems. So in the case of adrenal fatigue is where you have too little cortisol. So because cortisol is needed in amounts to maintain certain bodily functions. One of the functions of cortisol is in stress, when you're extremely stressed. So when you have children doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, or you have your spouse upset you, or the neighbor get you upset, cortisol is responsible for being released by the adrenal glands to ensure that your blood pressure doesn't reach 500 and something over to something, and then you end up dead on the floor, right? So that's essentially one of the main functions of cortisol. Now, the thing is, if you have adrenal fatigue, the problem is you are so stressed and so taxed that your adrenals now, because of producing too much cortisol, because in response to all the stress and emotional upheaval that you're going through in your life, you know, death of a loved one, maybe divorce, you know, issues. Because a lot of people don't manage stress properly simply because they do not have the raw materials in the body in order to deal with stress. And that's something that I'll continue in my discussion, because people who end up with nervous breakdowns are not necessarily mad people. It simply means that you did not have sufficient amino acids, and amino acids do what? Amino acids, are the building blocks for what? Neurotransmitters. So if you do not have sufficient amino acid production, and we get amino acids from what? Protein, right? So amino acids are the building block of protein. Let me say it correctly, sorry. But you have a vice versa. You have almost a conversion of to and fro where the liver is concerned, because your liver converts protein to amino acid to protein. And your brain, basically your central nervous system, uses amino acids in the production of neurotransmitters. So epinephrine, neoepinephrine, serotonin, melatonin. You need serotonin and melatonin to do what? Sleep. Right? Good. So if it is you are a person who you're physically and emotionally taxed, so you have a lot of work, and this was a conversation that I had with a client of mine recently, because I feel so sorry for people who work, and I'm going to be a little controversial here, because somehow the more bright, some people, the more bright days, the more stupid days. No, that some people just have sense alone. They do teach bad, no kind of sense. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. Because these are the people that I feel sorry for. Well, not necessarily sorry, but I empathize with you, because just as I said in the beginning, to whom much is given, much is expected. When you hold positions in high office, so whatever your office is, whether it's the prime minister, leader of the opposition, whether it's a member of parliament, and people I'm not politicizing anything, I'm just making a point here, right? If you are a director, so board of directors, you're on a board, you manage a company, you run company, CEO, that kind of thing. Listen to me. If you do not have sufficient information to know how to take care of yourselves, these doctors will run circles around you. Take what I'm telling you. They will make sure when they finish with you, the little money that you have remaining will just be to bury you. Right? So I've been a little controversial here, because the thing is, when they know you have a little bit of money, and I'm not straying from the topic, they tend to take advantage of you. And that's why I say some of you're bright, but all you're really stupid, or they have no sense at all. Because you can't work that hard and attain that level of education and have that type of job, which we know is already stressful, and you don't even know how to take care of yourself. Really? That don't make no sense. Why is it that the majority of our political leaders have pacemakers? Why? Why you think? You think that's a coincidence? No. The job is a stressful job. If somebody was to ask me, Jason Batson, if you want to be the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, I tell you, no, keep that. I don't want to work. The honorable individual in question, and as I say, I'm not politicizing anything. I'm making a point here. That's a hard job. That's a real difficult job. If you're running your own business, that's pressure, real pressure. So you have to know. I'm not talking about doctor, I ain't talking about your wife, I ain't talking about your children here, brother. I'm talking about you. Because let me tell you something, as I told somebody recently, work, as we say, or job, however we want to put it, do dead.
That's right.
I never see a work dead yet. You ever see director, CEO, whatever. Listen to me, and when you die, you're lucky if you get a return. If they send something, they might send a little. If they sing a hymn for you, some of them glad you're dead, because them get the position. So I'm just saying that to help you to understand that you need to take care of yourself. And as somebody say here, you need to find some balance. So those are the people that are talking about today and are talking to today. So what I want to hear, if you don't want to hear, you can take off your radio. You have to know how to take care of yourself. And that is where adrenal fatigue comes in. Because the World Health Organization and several studies have shown that people who run Fortune 500 companies, people who are CEO, managing directors, you have a little big work in the bank, the credit union, usually head man, head lady. Listen to me, you need to take care of yourself. And I am telling you that Batson and Associates could help you do that. Interestingly, I had a client that I spoke to last week. She came for a revisit without giving out too much information. And I gave her a product to use because she said, Dr. Batson, I sleep, but I don't like the quality of my sleep. I find I could sleep better. And I'm a very stressed individual, very, very stressed. I said, why are you stressed? She said, well, she has a lot of work to do. She do a lot of jobs. Hey, something here? As I see somebody say something, I forget people. Pastors. There must be people with plenty stress, Sure. Pastor is how to be praying for the congregation. The pastor, if he is a counselor, psychologist, people who deal with a lot of counseling and because listen to me, just sit down and listen to people's problems whole day is not an easy thing, That's not an easy thing at all. That'll send you mad. That's a serious thing. I the type of person from every time I talk to two people with problems, my head started with me already. And it's not even my problem. And then if you're married, children, those type of things, your children problem is your problem, Your wife problem, your husband problem is your problem. So the thing is, stress is something that we all have to deal with. So I'm going to give you practical ways now that you're going to deal with stress. But the point I was making with the lady is that there's a particular product that I like. I mean, all the products that we carry, I like, Santulan especially. I actually did my Santulan last night, so I have some Santulan that I'm planning to see if I could drink Santulan straight for the month. Because I find I start, stop. So I try to continue for the entire month and then do my maintenance. There's a product we have called Nerve Restore. Now, the reason why that product was called Nerve Restore is because it does just that. It actually restores the central nervous system. And as I said, it is very important that people focus on keeping yourself mentally. Because I'll tell you something, mental illness, which I had spoken about a while ago, is a serious thing. You see this thing they call depression? You would not believe how many people walking around looking normal, talking to you and laughing every day, and they're suffering from severe depression. Because there are some people who learn how to smile, you know. Some people learn, you get accustomed. Some people you manage, because you have another choice in the matter. You have your children to take care of, you have your family to take care of. You need to get up and go and do what you have to do. You need to do it. So you ain't going to sit down and lie down and bawl and complain. You get accustomed putting a smile on your face. Mommy, everything all right? Yes, I good. Your husband question you, you good girl? Yeah, I good. You put a smile on your face and you're going your way. But you're really good. Now the thing is, sometimes you could get away with that. But after a while, that is catch up with you. It's catch up with you. And mental illness is a serious thing. Because people who commit suicide, they don't think, nobody don't get up in a day and just decide, hey, I want to kill myself. You know? It don't work so. It don't work so. And keep in mind, my tone is not attempting to be insensitive. Right? I only know how I am. I lay down the facts. Right? So, you know, it brings into question that you need to observe your children properly. You need to observe people. You need to be observant with persons and show some empathy and that type of thing, because you have to understand or put yourself in people's you know, mental space sometimes, or empathize with them mentally, psychologically, emotionally, because it's not an easy thing. And if you're a person who have a lot to handle, all I'm simply saying is that you may not be aware that there's actually a supplement. There's a physical supplement that can actually help you feel better. I'm not saying it's going to correct all the problems in your life. I'm not saying that, of course not. But what I'm saying, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, it's going to give you up in being able to deal with what you have to deal with. And that's basically from the aspect of food. That's what it is. Do you know that there are some foods that can make you feel depressed? You know that? Let me give you an example. Sugar. So you're talking about you sit down and eat a mango here, you know. You're talking about you sit down and eat a pumpkin, pineapple in season. We're talking about that, you know. We're talking about sugar, processed sugar, sucrose, modified cornstarch. So all you know yourself, the ice cream people, the chocolate people, well, the wrong kind of chocolate, not the dark chocolate, the one that has a set of sugar in it. That's what you don't want, because sugar, here how sugar is a tricky thing. What sugar does, sugar gives you a high, and a very high. But when you go low, your low is 100 times lower than the low that you was before. Because sugar has the ability to do what? It plays with your mind, basically. You know, it affects endorphins, neurotransmitters in the brain, so it makes you feel good, right? There's only certain things that is release endorphins, you know, 3 basically, you know. What are they? Well, drugs, exercise. All of us is big people here. If you engage in intimacy, right? And the next one is what? Sugar. So sugar is actually 10 times more addictive than cocaine. So you have to be careful. No. And the thing is, when you consume sugar, your immune system shuts off for approximately 2 hours. So your immune response is significantly lower when you ingest sugar. So again, the ice cream people and, you know, the cake people, and they do it once in a while, but you know yourself, the numbers. And that's why diabetes is such a debilitating illness. Not only, because diabetes is not only a physically debilitating disease. You know? Diabetes is also mentally, psychologically. Because think of a man who has diabetes and he's no longer functional. So you married, you have a young wife, and nothing going on with you. Psychologically, emotionally, mentally, that could never be in a good place. If your wife talking to the neighbor, you're suspicious, and the poor woman ain't doing nothing. She asking the man about a hibiscus plant or for some dirt. You thinking all kind of things because of your current situation.
Right.
That's why diabetes is such, especially for men, is such a emotionally debilitating situation, which can be corrected quite easily, right? In the same case with women who are diabetics usually have serious problems with frequent yeast infection. They always have some issue with itching and rashes and that type of thing because of the elevated blood glucose levels. Right? So the thing is, with that situation, with adrenal fatigue, so how do you know that you have adrenal fatigue or you have something along that line? If you have extreme tiredness, especially in the morning, when you get up in the morning, you sleep and you're feeling like, oh God, I need to go back and lie down. Like, I didn't sleep. That's one indication. If you have cravings for very salty and sweet food or sweet things, that could also be an indication. Yeah, I see Dominic ticking off some things here, boy. If you have situations where you have mental and emotional highs and lows, I mean, we all go through that. I mean, sometimes you're in a good mood, sometimes you're in a bad mood. But if you're at the point where you find this depression feeling kind of, it's a little more than, you know, you gotta kind of watch yourself like, but what's really going on with me, boy? You know, Sunday, everybody gets up, because one of the signs of depression is wanting to isolate yourself. That's a clear thing. If you have children, you know, everybody around you, you see when people want to isolate themselves, you got to watch that. That could be one of the signs of depression. So that's something you need to pay very close attention to. Problem sleeping is also an indication of adrenal fatigues or issue with the adrenals, which means the endocrine system wants some work. The thing is, in natural and integrated medicine, one of the things that we learn, and one of the key aspects of integrated medicine, is that we do not treat symptomology, right? We don't deal with your mosquitoes. Your mosquitoes not important to us. There's only so much thinner flit we can buy. Our objective is to deal with the stagnant water. So once we remove the environment that is conducive for the breeding of mosquitoes, then we would no longer have mosquitoes. So the same applies to any problem. Just as we're talking about depression, anxiety. Anxiety is the next thing. If it is you have serious issues with anxiety, and women tend to be noisy. I'm not saying that men are not affected by anxiety, because we also have a taboo situation where mental illness is never discussed around men, or it is something that does not include men, because they believe once you're a man, boy, when you get on with hush, just small thing, go, you know, strong up and go and do what you need to do. But the thing is, men are human beings too, right? And some of us carry some very heavy loads because you have wife, you have children, you're taking care of family financially, you know, so that could get to you, you know. It could get to you. So how do you now maintain this particular situation? Of course, apart outside of Batson associates, I always tell people, prayer and meditation is one of the most important things it has, because your spiritual health is always important, and it affects all the other bodies. Downward causation, spiritual body, your supramental body, which is your subconscious mind, your mental body, which is your conscious mind, and your vital body, which is your energy body. And then the last body is your physical body. So if you do not have those, so if the top fella giving problems, which is the spiritual body, then you're going to be in some issues. So you need to always try and maintain. I'm not discussing religion here, right? Understand that. Spirituality and religion is two completely different things. A lot of people don't understand that. But that's what you're looking at. So once you examine that particular aspect and you're not lacking there, but you know there's always room for improvement, we could always better our best, then you go to the other aspect with your energy body. So you could have some, you know, as the Eastern people say, your chakras might be out of alignment. And that's a serious thing, because you have different points or energy points in the body. Just as how you have trigger points, you have different energy points in the body. So, you know, you have different chakras. You have your throat chakra, the ones that are associated with your eyesight, brain, emotion, different ones. And those are very important. So that's where your physical, taking care of your physical self is involved. So, you know, your little exercise. When we know they recently opened back gyms, we could, well, the beaches ain't open as yet. We still waiting with bated breath. So, you can go and take a little swim, dip in the salt, that kind of thing. As yet, but, it's coming. But, things like your brisk walking, your deep breathing, that works. You could just sit down in certain positions and do deep breathing exercises. It really does help. And it helps with depression, it helps with anxiety, because it actually improves blood circulation to the brain, which is very important. Because proper circulation to the cerebral hemisphere is very important for a number of things. So that's something
now,
that...
Let me ask you this now quickly.
Of course, no problem.
How do you deal with it? Let's say, I want to say a middle-aged person, male or female.
Right.
Who would say that they have been walking in this state of heaviness?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, like you, I would talk to a number of persons all day long.
Right.
And, they would share some stories with me that that it impacts them from day to day.
Right.
And what you're saying is great, because it's a clinical response to a psychological matter.
Right.
And maybe today we get a holistic response in how we deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we address it, or how would you address it if you're dealing with somebody, or how should we advise persons to deal with the mental stresses? And yes, I know you're mentioning deep breathing exercises and whatnot, and we'll get into some of the foods you should eat and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But there are some folks who tend to function exceptionally well in this particular state.
That's what I was saying in the beginning. Yeah. So there are some people, they have gotten so accustomed, because remember, it's a coping mechanism. You have to do, I mean, at times in my life, I have had to be a person like that, where I had a lot of things in the background that plenty of people didn't even know what's going on, business-wise, personal, financial, whatever the case may be. And sometimes you wonder how you dealt with it, or how you went through it. And, it's a matter, I mean, granted, I'm a strong person, and I've become a stronger person with experience and time and that kind of thing. But I think the will that you get to go on is, that had to come from a higher entity, in my personal experience. Some of the nonsense that I had to go through in my life in dealing with people and business and that kind of thing, it definitely, if I didn't know about praying, and I always tell my mother that, she'd be like, I hope you didn't say a prayer. I was like, yeah, man, that's something. Yeah, the figure, and that's something I learned even from a child growing up, because I had, my great-grandmother was a significant influence in my life. I was one of the grandchildren that I was literally, in the beginning, dragged off to church, because, you're small and all your cousins and then, but I had to go. And, later, as I grew and I understood, I matured and I understood certain things, I realized how important that foundation was to me, and there is no difference to that. I mean, it's not like if when you kneel down and you say a prayer, everything will go away, but it grounds you, and you get a fortification to continue where you would not have gotten that if you didn't do that. So I think that's the best advice I could give anyone from my personal experience. And, especially linking the spirituality to the science, because that's a serious thing. Mankind, I mean, and this is not to get too, to make anybody feel any particular way, because as I say, I'm not discussing religion, I'm discussing spirituality in this particular aspect of what we're talking about here. And a lot of people don't understand that the way mankind was designed and created, we were designed and created to, what's the word I want to use, boy? We had to look towards a higher entity. You have to. Even if you don't do it, your life is devoid, and it void, and you don't know why it void. So I'm not saying that you need to be a fanatic and you must be in religion and church. I'm not saying that. I at the end of the day, we all accountable. But understanding spirituality and having that grounding is a very important thing. It makes persons and it breaks them. Because, I mean, I have known, I don't know about you personally, but at that time people went through all kind of foolishness. I know persons who have been in situations of abuse, domestic abuse, children, sexual abuse, and that kind of thing. And they came out of that, and it wasn't only, if it wasn't for that aspect of prayer, You would not stand up.
You see, you're saying that, and I remember, I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago where we spoke on the most traumatic experience anybody could go through with divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I know just that week following, I had conversations with a number of persons who were going through a divorce.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was just sitting there listening to them, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Because you could hear their hurts and their pains, and like, you know what, you go ahead and vent, man.
Yeah.
If it is to get it off your chest, go ahead. You understand? As long as we don't take it to that point where you get violent,
exactly.
Go ahead and talk. You know? So go ahead and say what you had to say, and maybe talking is a major response.
It is.
And I say,
even if you talk to yourself.
If you could, I mean,
because people think that, you know, when it comes to mental health, and that's why I say the thing is, being a third world country, we are at a great disadvantage where mental health is concerned. Seriously. Stigma is a big thing, because, you know, we look at it as something facetious. People laugh at it. Hey, them is mad. People don't know. Yeah, you know, somebody say that somebody might make a joke about it and say, boy, madness is running that family. And they laugh like it does a joke. But that's not a joke. That's a serious thing. Mental illness is a serious thing. If you look at the United States, you look at Canada, you look at Europe, even Asia, China, Malaysia, Philippines, how they look at these things. It's a serious thing. And we have to catch up. But at the end of the day, you can't wait for them to catch up. This is you dealing with yourself and dealing with your family. And that's why I always tell persons, if it is you have children, especially now, in this time where we living in a completely different world, you need to pay very close attention to them. I have known of instances where children commit suicide right under their parents' houses, and you know, the parents are more devastated. They said that they saw no signs. Now, sometimes because we're busy, we don't observe and we don't pay attention. But that's just to help you to understand that even your diet can affect your health. And that's what I think a lot of persons don't understand, and affect your mental health. That's a serious thing. Certain foods that you eat could actually make a depressed person more depressed. And a lot of people don't know that. It could make somebody who has anxiety more anxious. It can make someone who has prone to, you know, trip off, as they say. It can actually make you trip off. I remember using, because I started back gym recently, and they have these pre-workouts, which I don't ever take the full dose, but I always look for, because I'm always careful of what I use, so I look at the ingredients. So this was a more natural one, but it would have some natural stimulants in it. And I didn't use the whole amount. I used like about half the serving. So when I reach in the gym now, I tell them fellas and them, I said, because I bought it from my partner there. So he said, Batson, how that pre-workout working? I said, boy, wait till you give me, boy, I drink this thing, I drink half of this thing, and I just feel to kick up people. So he started, he said, hey, me, you feeling to kick up people? I started telling you. So then the next day when I went to the gym now, he said, hey, Batson, what you saying is true, you know, boy, what this thing having it, boy? But there was an ingredient profile, because it was a herbal product. But what it does, because of how it brings about this extra, because it has to work on your central nervous system to give you the particular type of energy. So even though the products are all natural products, which I don't use those things in full dosage, I use half the amount. That is the response that you get. But that's, of course, to help you when you're in the gym to lift the weights and that kind of thing. But our next man, if you put me in a boxing ring with somebody, I said it. Fight done. But, you know, that's just to tell you that, you know, certain foods, coffee is our next example. Coffee could literally interfere with your flight and your fight response. That adrenaline, your parasympathetic, which we talk about, your autonomic nervous system, parasympathetic, sympathetic. Foods could trigger that. So, you know, that's just to help you guys to understand. You just need to be careful what you eat, and also be careful what you give your children. I was telling someone recently, when you look at preservatives, all this at red mango and red plum and all, you're not supposed to get into those foolishness to drink. Coffee is our next thing. I see parents is be giving the children coffee. Don't do that. You don't give children coffee at all. At all. You're creating a little monster there and you don't know. Actually, because the child going to school and beat up everybody in the school and you want to know why. Those things interfere with the autonomic nervous system, and it could have, you know, some serious issues. right? Even in this, let me just make this point quick, and then we're going to open up the lines. Even in this case of, let me make sure, as someone corrected me the other day, what it is the government has done with marijuana, it has been decriminalized. It is not, right, it is not legalized, correct? Good, which apparently there's some difference there, right? Which, and I quite frankly don't know the difference, and I'm not going to talk about it. But I know, so I'm saying that because it has certain people run and start to smoke marijuana like mad people, and then St. Anne's was full of people, you know. Plenty of people don't know that, you know. That plenty of people going inside there and running up the wall and running on ceiling and all kind of foolishness, you know. Because they do not understand that that is a chemical that has, just like food, it has a response. And a lot of people mentally cannot deal with that response. And that's a serious thing. Some people still watch the people marijuana and leave it right which part it is. Don't even drink tea. It is not for you. That is not for everybody. Like with everything else. Okay? So with that being said, we will open the telephone lines. Let me just make a quick statement here and call some numbers. So the telephone numbers, you could give us a call on 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That's 314-9975. Yes, Miss Moses. No, it's not rest I need. No, I was being disrespectful to my wife, and she gave me a little hook there. I got a right hook. So that's why my left eye so. No, joke I'm making. My eye had a little issue with my eye. I think I touched it or something like that, and it was irritated. But it's much better. Don't worry about that. Yeah, so that's something that you need to pay attention to. So those numbers again, 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That's 314-9975. You're listening to Dr. Jason Batson, the Senior Medical Director at Batson and Associates, your consultants in natural and integrated medicine. So I'm going to go over to Mr. Dominic now. I know I gave you all an earful. I don't know if that was the program that you wanted to hear today, but I had to have that discussion today because I find so many persons now, you know, it's coming to my attention that people have these issues, and you know, it's nothing to be taboo. It's nothing to be, and the thing is, it just could simply mean that your body has some deficiency or excess of some things, and it just needs to be brought back into balance, and we could do that. Okay?
That's right. All right, so my friends, you can give us a call at 625-2759, 625-2759, or 624-7729. All right, so let's take this message here quickly. All right, so this person says, morning, this program is helping me a lot because I'm currently diagnosed with MDD and an anxiety disorder and PTSD. My memory isn't what it used to be either because of all I'm going through. Mental illness has affected my life for a couple of years, but I was so busy seeing about my children and life that I wasn't able to take care of myself until it became too much to handle. Thank you so very much for sharing that this morning.
Okay. Right. So I got the majority of it, where they were saying, just tell me the first part. They were. They said
that they are diagnosed with MDD, major depressive disorder.
Right.
Right, and an anxiety disorder and PTSD.
Right.
Their memory isn't what it used to be because of all they were going through.
Whoa.
Mental illness has affected my life for a couple of years. But I was so busy seeing about my children and life that I wasn't taking care of myself until it became too much to handle.
Whoa.
As I said it this morning. So thank you so very much. All right, let's take this call. Caller, good morning to you.
A very good morning again, Jupiter.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
A very good morning to Dr. Batson.
Mr. Santa Cruz, sir, how are you?
I am mighty fine. Praise be to God and blessed is his holy name. And how do you do?
I am good, man. I am good. I'm blessed as well.
Praise be to God. Praise be to God. Dr. Batson, I have two questions.
Yes, sir.
What causes STS? And can it be cured? Question number 2. Why are some prostate glands
Okay, good. All right, so the okay, let me deal with the prostate and then I'll deal with the other one. In terms of prostate glands being cancerous, I mean, it's not necessarily per se that they're cancerous. What could happen is that someone may develop prostate cancer and other persons may not have prostate cancer. And the thing is, prostate cancer usually affects men who are particular type of men will get prostate cancer. And this might sound absurd to some people or weird, but I'll explain something to you. People who use particular types of chemicals in their work, and this is something that I've discussed on numerous occasions. So if you are someone who does welding, if you are someone who deals with auto mechanics, so you're a mechanic, you're always down in engine, you know, you're washing your hand with diesel and all kind of thing. I know they have plenty things now. They have these things now to wash your hands, and a lot of you guys don't use that because somebody, one of my partner told me that he said, boy, Batson, them thing don't work. I said, boy, you cannot be washing your hand with diesel because anything you put in your hands, when you wash your hand with diesel, where do you think that diesel going? Straight into your bloodstream. So you're making yourself a perfect candidate to get cancer. Men who are painters, if it is, you know, you deal with gardening, so you do a lot of spraying, you deal with things like paraquat, gramoxone, those type of things. Those men are usually, or people are usually in a higher bracket of getting cancer, right? If you work in oil and gas, you may work on rigs, you work in certain industries where you're exposed to certain chemicals. You all know yourself. If you know you're working in that industry and you're not cleaning yourself, you're not taking certain things, brother man, sister woman, you're going to be in some serious problems. And that is not me being the prophet of doom and gloom. That is me speaking facts. You need to really pay attention to yourself when you involve with those chemicals. I'll give you an example. I had a client who came to me and he was diagnosed with, excuse me, with colorectal and prostate cancer. You know what he used to do for a living? He used to drive a gas truck. And he said that the doctor told him that it had nothing to do with that. I said that doctor wasn't going back to school. I guarantee you, without a shadow of a doubt, that had 90% to do, or had contributed 90% to you getting what it is you got there. So your job is always, especially in the case of men, as regards to the question that was asked, as it relates to prostate cancer, you need to be very careful. If you know there's a meat mouth, which the majority of you are, especially if you like the one with the snout, you need to be careful. You need to be very careful. You need to do your routine cleanses. You need to use things like your baking soda ever so often. You need to do heavy metal cleanse, which we do have available at Batson and Associates. Listen to me, we have cleanse for everything. You know. Right now, I'm working on getting a kidney cleanse, a cleanse specifically for kidneys. Because I'm getting so much persons, or we rather getting so much persons now with early signs of renal failure, people with high ESRs, which is erythrocyte sedimentation ratio, which actually showing that these persons are leading to renal failure. Because, you know, not to deviate from the question too much, a lot of people who end up on dialysis, somehow they're very, very hard and just look for their problems. According to my great-grandmother, you buy a trouble wholesale. You went in and just back up a truck and buy it simply because you knew that you had a predisposition and your situation was one where you're exposed to the things that I'm talking about. You can't be painting, you paint lead. There are people you paint in car every day, and you all don't have the proper equipment. And even if you have it, you still need to do your proactive maintenance as it relates. Even if you don't come to Batson and Associates, that's not my concern. It must have somebody else selling some kind of cleanse. It ain't going to be good like Santualan. But if it is you don't want to come by me, at least do something for yourself. Do something. Look, there was a recipe I gave a while back for the liver cleanse with the raisins. The raisins and the what's the other thing, boy? And the olive oil. You don't want to come by me to get that. You can't go and get some raisins and get some olive oil and make a cleanse for yourself. All it is look for the thing, man. According to the people, you're big on your sense. Do something to, correct yourself. All right. And the second, the first, I forget what the first question, right? The first question Mr. Santa Cruz asked. Or epilepsy. Oh, good. Yeah. What causes epilepsy? Well, epilepsy or fits is a central nervous system disorder where it affects the synaptic response in the brain is being affected, and you have too much response. So you're getting this constant firing off. And as a result of that, you could now end up with epilepsy or fits. It is very easy to deal with. I've dealt with persons quite successfully with that. It is always good to deal with them when the diagnosis is early or when the situation is just encountered, because it's better to deal with it. What I have found a lot of the times is that when you improve blood circulation to the brain, usually the client gets a better response, I remember there was this young lady I dealt with who came to me and she used to get seizures every day. When we were finished with her, she was getting like twice for the month, which is a big improvement. I mean, from 30 times for the month, sometimes more than that, she went down to like twice for the month. And I believe had she continued, she would have gotten even, she would have reached the point where she no longer had it. But it's something that you need to be very careful with, because a lot of sense actually affect people with or trigger epileptic fits. So certain scents, perfumes, if you're around cigarette smoke, if you're around places where they burn stuff, that could also affect you. So you need to be very careful. If that is your diagnosis, you need to be very careful of your environment, as to certain scents could actually trigger off that particular situation. Let me just go back quickly to the question that was asked. You need to come to Batson and Associates. If we need to see if we can give you, when I'm doing one of my 15 days, we give you an appointment or something. Those diagnoses that you got there is serious, with the post-traumatic stress, as well as the anxiety, as well as the serious depression situation. And I mean, there's only so much medication you could use. I'm not criticizing the medication, but I always find that medication, especially for people with mental situations, because I mean, when you give people things like Zoloft and amitriptyline, you don't want to be taking sleeping tablets. Sleeping tablets are very habit forming. They're very dangerous, very, 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 very dangerous medication. The doctor doesn't tell you that, but they are. And they could actually have some serious effects where it could actually make you contemplate or even, seriously think of committing suicide. So you need to be very, very careful. There are a lot of natural ways to deal with depression, deal with anxiety. It usually has a lot to do with your liver, because keep in mind, your liver is your mental health organ. Western medicine doesn't know that, but people like myself, we know that thoroughly. And for the same reason that I gave you, I told you your liver converts protein to amino acid and amino acid to protein. It's very, very, when you're going through stress, and statistics and science has proven this, and research, when you are stressed, your protein intake is supposed to be significantly higher in your diet. You know why? Because protein gives you what? Or you get what from protein? You get amino acids. And your body uses amino acids to produce neurotransmitters. So if you're not sleeping and your diet is void of a lot of things, you in a bad way, in a real, real, real bad way. And that's why most people with mental illness get worse. When you look at people who have been diagnosed with things like bipolar and what's the next one, boy? Not OCD. OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder, not that. The next one going to come to me. A lot of the time, that wasn't the diagnosis, Those persons didn't have OCD, they didn't have bipolar, they didn't have schizophrenia. What their problem was is that they had a nervous breakdown, which most medical professionals cannot identify. And they identify a nervous breakdown as everything else. Even women with post-traumatic stress, when women make children, postpartum depression rather, I want to say, you think these women actually looking to contemplate to kill their own child that they gave birth to? It means mentally that mother is exhausted. Even going into the pregnancy, she was not physically able or physically prepared to be pregnant. Most people, you remember, how many people plan pregnancies? They say 50% of us came here with no planning. So some of us, our parents didn't want us. But yeah. The thing is, some of them decided to keep us. So a lot of the times, women don't use proper nutrition. They don't know. They don't know. And then some of these dietitians out there want going back to school. They can't even give you a proper diet. I remember dealing with a client who came to me. I gave her Dietary when she was pregnant. And the doctor that she was going to question as to why, because they knew that she was dealing with me, why I gave her Dietary. And the doctor called me and I was very polite. I said, ma'am, didn't you think, so you're not aware that women, when they're going through, when they are pregnant, that especially at the age that she was, because the person was older, they were in the 40s, it was a candidate who came to me who had serious problems. She couldn't make children. And she came to us and we helped her and she was successful. But I needed to help her throughout the term, so she would have a visit with me. Sometimes she didn't even have to come. I would call her, everything all right, whatever the case may be. Her husband would come and pick up whatever. In any case, she used the Dietary. The doctor called and she asked, she said, oh, Dr. Batson, Dietary isn't toxic to her pregnant. I said, no, it's not. I said, it's needed. Do some research. And she did check it and she said, well, that was an eye-opener for her. And this client has a very, very healthy, that's one of the healthiest children I have ever seen when that child was born. The child had more hair on her head. Some children is born with real hair? This child literally was born with hair that could have plaited cane already. And that was because of the protocol that I had given the mother during the pregnancy. I had on specific things just to ensure that the pregnancy that she carried successfully to term. So that's just to help you to understand. A lot of the times, you're nutrient deficient, and you're not aware. You don't know. And because of that, mentally, your body is not at the task. And I'll tell you, a lot of people are walking around with that situation. You see them school children on them that they have here now, especially them set to just right C. Whenever C comes around, I just be like, Lord, Father, God, because it's the children are stressed, the parents are stressed. Now, some always stress all themselves for nothing, because the poor children and them go do well, But always so day and you want the child to do what you didn't do. But that's a topic for our next discussion. But it's just a matter of mentally and from the dietary perspective. And that's our next thing. I've had persons who came to me, who you're studying, you're going UE, wherever you're going, and you're eating foolishness. Let me tell you something. When you're studying, don't play stupid. You eat foolishness, you ain't going to get a job, you ain't going to live long enough to get a work with that set of study you're studying. Take what I'm telling you. There are plenty bright, sick people, Plenty of them. You're bright, you get degree, master's, PhD, and you're sick. That make no sense? What sense that make? You gotta take care of yourself. Eat properly. And this is for all of you children who studying, and your mother doesn't come in your room and knock the door. Janelle, Joseph, you eat? No, ma'am, you're studying. How much study? You could study on an empty belly. Don't do yourself that. And don't drink coffee either. That's the next thing. Some always be drinking a set of coffee to stay up. You will be a mad graduate. Mad sick. Plenty of you. That's why we put all in the work with, so they can't even work with people. Because all you done gone already. You have to take care of yourself. You have to. Your diet is fundamental. What you eat on a daily basis affects you. Forget Batson and Associates and Nerve Restore and Santulan and all that thing. Let me put that aside for now. What you eat on a daily basis. What you eat. What you had for breakfast this morning. What you going to eat for lunch. What you going to have for dinner. What you eating tomorrow morning. That's why meal prep is a good thing. I mean, sometimes the time to, because I used to do meal prep and I'd be like, oh God, but it's something necessary. All right. So let's go to the lines again.
All right. Just run through a couple of messages here quickly. All right. So someone wants to know, what can we use to cleanse the kidney?
To cleanse the kidney, homeboy? Celery is actually a very good thing. If you juice some celery, carrot, that's actually a good one. We have, after God is Google, after Google is YouTube. Stop going on the internet and mind people business. Go on, read, search kidney cleanse, natural kidney cleanse. You will find some things. You understand? Right? Apart from that, Batson Associates, we have kidney tea. We have Santulan, my beloved Santulan. I love that product with all, because it is such an effective product. 7-channel detox. It cleans and detoxifies kidney, colon, bloodstream, liver, lymphatic system, skin, and your lungs. Your alkaline water. The water that you drink makes a difference. Is the next thing I would do. I'm not saying you have to come by Batson and buy water every week. I'm not telling you that. Although we have people that do that. What I'm saying to you, even if it is you're using the tap water, boil your water and buy a filter. That filter mug now, them filter mug is not $1,000. You could go and buy a filter for yourself. You cannot spend 3 something, 4 something for some water for your family, for a device for your family to drink better water, and talking foolishness to me and telling me about your grandfather drink pipe water and your great-grandfather. If he or she alive, it's because of what they eat. We live in a different time. You have to take better care of yourself. Very, very important. So what you eat on a daily basis, it must either be of benefit. It's 2 things. It's either poison or medicine. You choose.
That's a good question. Somebody just messaged and said that I would like listening to you again.
Yes, if those 2 sugars
Can cause diabetes.
could cause them to be diagnosed diabetes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Diagnosis as diabetic. Okay, I follow you now.
Follow you.
Well, yeah. Well, that's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that. Because I'll tell you something. A lot of people go and get cane sugar just like that. Let me tell you something. That's not a good idea. Let me ask you something. If you would, how much cane you could sit down and suck? Hey, Dominic, how much cane you feel? You feel you could a length of cane?
No, sir.
Not much, right?
No, sir. No.
God in his wisdom made sure that he produced something called fiber in fruits and vegetables. You know why? Fiber or cellulose, scientific term, is you have 2 types of fiber. You have soluble fiber and you have insoluble fiber. Both fibers help in how your body regulates glucose. So when you go and blend things, when you go and juice things, well, blending is a difference, but when you juice things, so when you extract the sugar, the juice from the sugar cane, you could know the volume of sugar is way more than what you would have consumed had you sat down and sucked the cane. You understand what I'm saying? So that is not a good idea because that is a high concentration of sugar that your body is not going to be able to metabolize properly. So in doing that, you're actually creating opportunities for your body to spike or to have spiking, and your pancreas is not going to have to produce insulin to deal with the spiking. So in those particular situations, you can give yourself diabetes, or you can put your body in a diabetic state for a period of time. Let me put it like that. Because I always tell people, I believe diabetes is one of the easiest diseases to reverse. Somebody attempted to put me in my place there and said, Dr. Batson, have you ever been diabetic? I said, no. They said, well, you don't know. I nearly died when they told me that. But no, I don't have to have had diabetes to know that diabetes is easy to get rid of. The problem with a lot of persons is that you need to be disciplined. Someone is asking a question, does the mineral formula have to be refrigerated after opening? Yes, it should be refrigerated. We usually tell you to refrigerate all the liquids that you get from us. So the mineral formula, the synergy, the cyst and fibroid formula, liquid chlorophyll, or the advanced chlorophyll rather. If you get things like Genesis and those other things too, you refrigerate as well. Okay?
All right, so someone is asking, you mentioned Nerve Restore. Tell us exactly what it is used for.
Okay, Nerve Restore. This is actually one of my favorite products. Nerve Restore is a product that was basically designed by yours truly. Why I wanted a product to help persons sleep better. I've had a lot of persons in my 12 years of experience that has come to me, or to us to help them to sleep, and we have helped them successfully. But then you always had the 1 or 2 people who say, oh God, you know, I use this, it didn't work, I use that and it work, I use valerian, it didn't work, I use this, it didn't work. I say, all right. So I sat down and I with a close colleague of mine, and I say, okay, here what? I want a product called Nerve Restore, and this is the ingredients I'm going to put in it. A, B, C, D. So it has kava in it, it has something called alma, which is Indian gooseberry, and then we put some ashwagandha in there too. Now, the thing with me, I'm brand specific, so quality is, I don't make joke with that. So we came up with the Nerve Restore, and then we had people trying it, and watch me, the reviews, rave reviews. So what it does, it basically is an adaptogen. What is an adaptogen? It actually helps your body deal with stress. So the same thing that I was discussing at the genesis of our discussion where we were speaking about adrenal fatigue, it actually addresses the adrenal and the endocrine system, but it also addresses the aspect of the endocrine system in its relation to the central nervous system. So it's going to help somebody who has problems sleeping. It is not going to so it doesn't make you sleepy, you know, but it facilitates the body's natural ability to sleep. So when you're ready to sleep, you're going to lie down and sleep. And when you get up from your sleep, you would realize that you felt as if you have slept. Reason being, the main purpose and function of sleep is to do what? To rejuvenate neurotransmitters. That's the main purpose of sleeping.
So do you subscribe to persons taking naps during the day?
I don't see that as a problem. You have to know yourself. I mean, the thing is, a lot of people have to understand that sleep is required different. Like somebody is saying, Amy Grant, yes, the nerve restore is a plus. It is working. Okay, so that's a testimony there. And if we check 100 persons who have used that product, I'm telling you, 100 out of 100 has gotten improvement. There was a lady I had last week, before I continue that question, when she used the first bottle, she said, I kind of sleeping by like second bottle. You see, from when she finished the second one, she said, Dr. Batson, that was it. I sleeping. Completely, and the sleep that you get is a different type of sleep. You see, if you use that together with the mineral formula, well, man, they want nothing with you. When you get up, you could conquer the world, because it literally helps your body deal with stress. So you see, that's a stress reliever in a bottle. You can't get more than that. Optimizer has some similar benefits, but the difference with Optimizer more helps with improvement in blood circulation to the brain. It's an antioxidant, so we use it a lot with people with eye problems. Then we have Revitalizer. Revitalizer is more libido based, so people who have like low sex drive, male and female, they can use that, but also has some mental aspects associated with mental clarity, improved state of mind, and that type of thing. Because as I said, depending on how your day goes, at some point in time, the best of us get depressed, including myself. I ain't lying to tell you. Sometimes I get up and I was like, oh God, all right. And then, you know, I check us myself and I do certain things and you get back in the frame of mind, but you don't feel with people all the time. I mean, I do consultation, you know what people like to see on a daily basis? I'm not saying I'm fed up with people, but you mentally and emotionally, you need to be able to deal with people. A client asked me, she said, but Dr. Batson, you are a real energy boy. I said, look how much people you see for the day and you see in me and you normal my energy level. But I mean, I do what I love, so. But that's just to help you to understand. So there are things that can help you and you have no reason to be out there suffering. I know people, listen to me, when you cannot sleep, you're the worst human being on the face of the earth to deal with. You know? Nobody like you, you know. The only people worse than people who can't sleep is people who don't get intimacy. And only know yourself. Them is the worst human being to you. Ain't get nothing in years. So you sour. them on par. So we can help you with the sleep. I can't help you in the other area. You got to deal with that for yourself. But the sleep, we could help you with that. So those numbers, again, keep in mind to check us out on Facebook. We are Batson Associates Limited. On Instagram, we are Batson Associates TT. On YouTube, we are Batson Associates Trinidad.
All right, so someone wants to know what can be done for memory disorder or lapse in memory.
Memory disorder or lapse in memory. Well, you need to work on this blood circulation to your brain. So it could be early signs of what is known as vascular dementia. Vascular dementia is something that has taken over the medical space now, simply because a lot of persons, vascular dementia is something we didn't hear about until maybe about 10, 15 years ago. Not even 10, 15 years, maybe 10 years. We were quite familiar with Alzheimer's. So vascular dementia is just an early sign of Alzheimer's, where people starting to forget and that type of thing. So you're looking at improving blood circulation to your brain. So the first thing you should watch is your water intake. I would suggest there's a product that we usually carry called Cerebral Formula, which we will get more of that in stock coming to the middle of this month. We'll get very good product, very, very good product, very good product. There's a young man I dealt with in Tobago, came to me and he said, Dr. Batson, because the type of the job that he had, but he didn't understand what was going on. His memory was just going. But his problem was that he wasn't getting sufficient blood flow to his brain. He had some little problems with hypertension, which we corrected. But he swears by that product. Swears by it. Very good product. So I'd given him that together with the nerve restore, the optimizer, and he had used the santulan and the water. Keep in mind when you're using Santulan, let me just say this. Santulan is best used on an empty stomach. What is an empty stomach? An empty stomach is either 30 minutes to 45 minutes before a meal, or it is an hour, 2-3 hours after a meal. Yeah, that's an empty stomach. So Santulan, we normally tell people drink Santulan like about 11 a.m. because we would have gone with the assumption based on the information that you would have given us that you would have had breakfast maybe about 8 o'clock. So 3 plus 8 is what? 11. Even if you had breakfast at 9, you could have Santulan like maybe about 11:30. Or you drink it 5 o'clock. Do not drink Santulan. That is something that we need to do, and the suppliers, they have to change that. I will take a little blame for that, because in the pamphlet, even though we tell you, but a lot of times people forget what we tell them, and they go home and they look at the pamphlet, and the pamphlet saying to take it after your meals. Do not do it like that. Santulan is 1,000 times more effective when you drink the product on an empty stomach. What is an empty stomach? It is either 30 to 45 minutes before a meal, an hour to 2 to maybe 3 hours, depending on the meal that you have. And you know what that is, right? If you have a meal, so if you eat rice, chicken, pasta, peas, you're looking at about 3 hours. Especially if you have a lot of meat in the diet, because you know protein takes the longest to digest, right? If you do like vegetables, you do a salad and thing, in an hour that goes through your system. Fruits, it goes through very, very quickly. All right?
All right, someone wants to know, what is the relationship between adrenals and thyroid?
Well, the thing is, they're very closely connected, because remember your endocrine system is the glands, right? Your glands include thyroid, parathyroid, pituitary, adrenal, pineal. So the thing is, those are responsible for the production of hormones. That's what glands do. What are hormones? Hormones are chemical messengers in the body, right? Which could either behave as catalysts in certain chemical reactions. So with the adrenals can have some effect on the thyroid eventually, but your master gland is your pituitary. Yeah, your pituitary gland is your master gland. That basically, in mapping, or what we call body mapping, that controls all of them. With thyroidism or hypothyroidism or thyroid problems, I discussed that. That's an easy problem to fix. Very, very easy. I don't subscribe too much to L-troxin and cobimazole and those type of medications for extended use, because they can affect your memory really badly. So I am more from a holistic perspective, where we actually deal with the stress. And again, thyroid is linked with serious stress problems. So it can definitely be a serious contributor to that particular problem.
All right, someone is asking, Doc, can you treat vertigo, and how do you go about treating that diagnosis?
Vertigo is, again, improper blood flow to your brain. So the go-to product they give you is Stemetil. The thing is, if you have vertigo, it could be a number of reasons why you have vertigo. One could be dehydrated. So you need to get some alkaline water. You need to drink sufficient water. The rule for drinking water, your body weight divided by 2 ounces. You know, I think everybody know that by now. That's one thing. What you could also look at, you could go on YouTube. There are some exercises that you can do for vertigo, where you lie down to the side, and then when they show you, you stretch across this way, and then you stretch across that way. Then there are ones where you lie on your back, you raise up your legs, you shift them. So you could look. They have some good information there. What we offer at Batson Associates, we normally do a good job in correcting blood flow to the brain. Nerve Restore seems to be a product that works well. The cerebral formula had worked well as well for a number of persons with that product. You could also have some sort of structural issue where you have some sort of compression of the disc in the spinal column. So it could be in the cerebral. Most of the time is in the cerebral vertebrae. So you know how your spine is designed, right? You have C1 to C7, which is cervical. Then you have T1 to T12, which is your thoracic vertebrae. Your thoracic vertebrae don't give trouble, so very rare. Usually people have problems in the cervical and the lumbar, or the lower aspect, which is the coccyx, or what they call your bottom bone there. A lot of people may have problems. So you may have compression of the disc, or you may have herniated disc, you may have some sciatica, you may have a number of things, which is some sort of inflammatory condition related to the spine that could now affect circulation to the brain. So you may need to seek out the services of a chiropractor, someone trained in that particular science. I have some serious belief in chiropractors. I believe you should have a chiropractor as your friend, like I do, because believe me, they could save your life, and they are very, 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 very useful. Not everything is going to cut and chop open you. Not everything. Your back hurts, you don't want to cut you open. Your eye hurts, you don't want to open your eye. They want to put laser in it, they want to put injection. What you feel it is.
You know, as you say that, you know, some persons need to understand that there's a lot of benefits to stretching.
Of course.
Proper stretching of that.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
If you stretch your body properly, things like that, the pain eases immensely.
Significantly. Most of the time, people end up in those situations because lack of motion. You know, a lot of persons, they're immobile. We're not as active as we're supposed to. The chair was one of the worst inventions. You know? I don't know if you ever saw that. You know, they show you a picture time. I don't know if you ever saw that. They show you a photograph where they show you a chicken. They show you this food. They show you some terrible food, and it had a chair in it. And I asked you which one is the worst. And everybody picked the burger or the fried chicken, and they didn't realize the chair was the worst thing. Yeah, chairs. Because we sit. You're not supposed to be seated for such extended period of time. It damages your posture. It affects certain things. So you have to understand that you are a moving piece of machinery. No piece of machinery is greater than the human body. Nothing. A tractor, no tractor could perform what a human being could do. The thing is, they could do it in heavier loads. But in terms of preciseness, even I think something like a crane can operate the way you will take your hand and pick up a bunch of keys or something. They can't do that. So it means the whole that whole central nervous system needs stretching. It needs massage. I'm a big advocate of massage therapy. Big. Very big.
Definitely. All right, so my friend, I hope that you heard how to treat the vertigo, and of course, we did just discuss what causes it. All right, let's take a quick phone call. Caller, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Dominic.
So,
Yeah, what happened? Both are up now, so the family will get it back because they asked Dr. Batson a question here. Dr. Batson.
Yes, sir.
What's up, man?
I am good, sir. How are you doing, man?
Everything cool. It's sounding good, man.
Thank you,
I
sir.
like the advice against where you have to go study and stuff.
Yes, sir.
You know, because you can't do all the degrees and diplomas and that's where they follow.
Yeah, that make no sense,
My
boy.
question to you is, now you mentioned about sugar, right?
Right.
But does anybody need a little bit of both sugar and salt because as we have used the same one?
Exactly.
We're not now, you overdo. You just stop because the Bible says whatever you do it moderately.
Moderation.
So back to the sugar thing, is it not because our body needs both to balance it off, but we don't overdo the thing? And it's not obvious.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, you're quite correct, you know. You're quite correct. You need some sugar in your diet. You see, the thing is, sugar was never the issue, you know, because we have fruits. Fruits here before us. Here before us. So nobody never had an issue with the fruits. But then they come and make a sugar for you and call it sucrose, which is table sugar. That's the sugar we have a problem with. And they have that in everything. So soft drink, juice, tea, bread, sweet bread, cake, pone, currants roll. Yeah. The place getting warm there. So you know yourself. So everything the bakery has sugar in it. So that's the type of sugar we're speaking about. Yeah, sugar in dates. Dates is actually one of the top foods that have. My house always had dates in it. I always tell people that. You swear as a Muslim. You know, Muslim people say you have 5 things a Muslim house always have olive oil, dates, black seed oil, prunes, and what's the next one, boy? It have one other one, you know. I can't remember. Figs. They believe in that, you know. I agree with them 100%. So you need sugar, nobody's saying so. Salt now. A lot of people, well, it's not salt you need sodium. But where you get sodium from? So table salt is poison. I fed up tell people that if you're using table salt now, you want licks, you want some good slap. Go and show you that. That is not, start making a lab. table salt is sodium what? Chloride. You go and do some research. That is not naturally occurring. You will never find that nowhere. There's a difference between sea salt and rock salt, which is why everybody running after the pink salt now and that kind of thing. So if you use that in small amounts, nobody is saying no, because if your diet does not have salt, you'll be in problems. If your diet does not have the correct type of sugar, you're going to be in problems. Even if your diet doesn't have meat in it. I am not an advocate of vegetarianism. I don't have an issue with anyone who's a vegetarian. But if you are a vegetarian, your work is cut out for you. Your work is cut out for you because there are a lot of things you're going to be deficient in. So as the gentleman rightly said, moderation is what is needed. But there are some things that have no moderation. Have no moderation with soft drink. That is nonsense. Don't drink it. End of story. People might not agree with me. That is total nonsense. I ain't even debating that.
But something you mentioned earlier, and I say, and I know some folks who, or when you were discussing the kind of highs that sugar will give.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Folks that swear by having
don't call name, eh?
a black soft drink.
Yeah.
Swear by it, that they enjoy the high that it gives, and simple to you realize that you crash afterwards, not too long afterwards. I think it was this morning. This morning I'm coming into Prostate and I'm listening to a conversation right in front of me, and somebody is talking about they're not feeling the same kind of energy that they used to when they drink coffee anymore. And in my head, all I hear is your voice saying, well, you're going suffering, so you're going, what is saying no more?
You're killing yourself. But the thing is, we live in a world now where people starting to get it. And I'm like this, and that's why I'm such a plain-spoken person. And people who know me, they know the type of person that I am. Because I just find it don't fool yourself. When you're coming to fool yourself. You can fool yourself, but that is a sign of mental illness. You're mad, because because the thing is, even if you're lying, you can lie so good that you tend to start to believe you're lying. That's happening. It have a name for people like that, That's a particular condition, So the thing is, we're not saying no, but you have to understand what annoys me with the Western world is this. And I mean, I did some aspect of Chinese medicine. I went to China in 2014. One of the things that my Chinese counterparts have taught me that I will never, ever, ever forget. They always talk about yin and yang. Positive, negative, light, darkness. So in food, spectrum of food, you have positive and negative. And a lot of people don't like to hear that, because what the world glorifies and encourages, a lot of people just have a problem when you talk against it. I am, 42? The last time I drank a soft drink, I was 5. I don't lie about that. I tell people that. People who live in my house, they know. If you want to see me go mad, bring that by me. You'll be in some problems. If we have a little get-together or something, you bring it, you drink it outside, and you leave with the remainder. If you leave it there, I will throw it away, because I don't drink that. I don't mince words with that. I could give you 30 programs on how devastating soft drink is. And people know that. Because soft drink has why would you drink something that has carbon dioxide in it? You have to be mad. Something has to be wrong with you. And it have people giving the little children that. Now people just say, well, they sell it. Okay, no problem. They sell cigarette. And on the cigarette, they put in the Minister of Health advises that smoking is bad for your health. You know why? Because if you take them to court, the first thing the attorney or the defense will tell you is that it's big on the cigarette pack. You can't read. And if you tell them you're illiterate, you still will lose that case. Because what you want to do, and if you're blind, they will put it in braille for you. So you will know, you are aware. So don't come and say, oh, it's about next thing. You see this thing called red mango and red plum and preservatives? Listen to me. All you plenty women who have fibroids, polycystic ovaries, ovarian cyst, endometriosis, painful menstrual cycles, because all they're greedy and eating them foolishness. That is not food. You eat a little one plum, I can understand, but I remember I have a ex that used to sit down. She must eat about her bag with 50. I said, what's wrong with you? And anytime you're getting cravings for salty and sweet, that same situation we were speaking about, the adrenal fatigue, watch yourself. Something wrong with you. There were some programs I did some years ago, and I told them your body speaks to you. Are you listening? Let me tell you something. Nobody do fall long and dead. Don't let it fool you with that nonsense. Don't let it fool you with that shipment at all. Very few people, there's going to sleep, go and sleep, and dead. I just tell the good Lord here, what? If time for me to go, let me go so. I don't want no kind of ridiculous kind of that. Suffer and people had to bathe me and I in Pampers. I was a fussy man. I was bathed up kind of 4 or 5 times a day. You could imagine if you had to bathe me, you would get vexed. I knock in that sick whole day. You cannot sleep. You have to get up and bathe me because I want to bathe. So I is one of them. They will wheel me or they'll poison me fast. I go there. They go get rid of me quick. They go say, see here, put something in your food, grind up some glass, put something where they ain't gonna know we kill him. They will want to get rid of me very, very, very quickly. I just always tell people that. So because when you're sick, it's not a good feeling. Look, you see right now, you see my eye. If you know how I'm annoyed about this eye, and it's because some foolishness I do. I think I went outside and I was dealing with some grass and something, and I figured it fly and it hit me in my eye. It hit me to the side of the eye, and I brushed it off. So I figured a little scratch and I must be dirty. So I went and sorted it out. It will go down. It's just a time thing. Because everybody asking me what's going on with my eye. But the point is, I don't like to feel sick. It's a little eye bothering me. And if you see I sleeping last night, I annoyed with this. So nobody out there want to be sick. You don't want to know you are male. You get up in the morning and you cannot pee. You could imagine 4 o'clock. I don't know when all ladies get up to pee. I is a 4 o'clock man. For the time is 4 o'clock, I just reach in the washroom and I pee. And when I pee in the whole where I live in, could hear me peeing. I have a good force, proper urine, because I just drink plenty water, right? Good. You could imagine, you get up. And watch me, Dominic, there's a serious story. It have plenty men walking around out there with something called a catheter in them. Listen to me, brother, you do not want to, you could imagine you get up to pee and you can't pee, Dominic. Yeah. And majority of men who end up with prostate problem, that is what they get. They get something called stoppage of water. Let me run through quickly, just quickly. Talking about that, we have prostate formula in stock. And we get prostate teaching. Let me tell you something. When you have to go to the hospital. And you know what the doctor have to do? They have to insert something called a catheter. You know what a catheter is? Okay, good. So a catheter is a device that looks maybe a little smaller than a straw. And they will take it and they have to insert it into your private part. So you're not imagining that whole visual there already. I done faint already. I fall down. Yep. I done start to beat up on the ground already. Just with that visual. And what they're going to do is that when you start to urinate, you're going to get some urine coming out. But after a while, you're going to see, you know what you will see? You'll see some blood. Right. And the pain that you're going to get, I never make a child yet. But I hear women talk about child labor. I feel that pain worse than that. And you're going to sit down comfortably and tell me you don't want to go and do a prostate exam. You have to be out of your mind. Now, the thing is, nobody ain't doing no digital exam. These men don't like to do digital exam because they figure you have to sit down and somebody have to insert their finger in you. People don't do that thing again. That gone long time. Nobody don't do that. Anybody you going by you doing that, you need to, something must be wrong with them. We don't do that again. It have ultrasound. You have MRI, you have CT scan. We have something in Batson associate, you hold it in your hand, me even close to you. You quite over on the next side, you in the next room. They give you that, you hold it. 1 minute. I could know if your prostate swell. Even if I do a blood analysis on you, 1 drop of blood, and we have a special going for this month, so you all could check it out on our Facebook page. 1 drop of blood. And I telling you, Mr. A, Mr. B, watch yourself. Your prostate starting to swell here, and if you don't watch yourself, you're going to end up in some problems. Catheter is no fun. And listen to me, let me put a bigger spoke in your wheel. You know, all your men who have nice wife and thing. When you have a catheter, you know what I mean? Nothing for you. You ever hear that song? Nothing for you. So it pays to have some sense and go and check yourself. Don't play stupid and sit down. I ain't bad talking my brothers in Tobago because I'm going to Tobago this week. I love Tobago. But them men over there very hardened. You know, them more macho than anything. Them know everything. Listen to me. If you do some research on the amount of men in Tobago who walking around that have 1, no prostate, and 2, die from prostate cancer, you'll be you'll be alarmed at the numbers. Why you killing yourself stupid. So in a time where we have all this information, where you could go and find out if something wrong with you, you must know how you're urinating. Now, when I get up and I urinate and I pee loud, I wasn't trying to be facetious or anything. I know you have a particular flow. You must, I mean, if you're 70, we ain't expect you're going to be standing up and you're peeing like when you was 20, you know, kind of 10 feet, 15 feet and thing. Could boss people eye, you mightn't be able to do that, but you must be able to see some kind of flow. When you realize you're dribbling on yourself, you put away and you feel it done when you're done your underwear wet. No, brother, man. You need to check yourself. Especially if you know if you're licorice, you like plenty meat, you know some all you know all yourself. I don't even want to call all you know all yourself. And some all you're carrying some tent day, them big belly and telling people about tent, watch yourself. Prostate problems is always linked with gastrointestinal problems. Always. I've never met, with the exception of men who deal with chemicals, most of those men is men you like meat. And you see that thing all you like with the snout, me tell you not to eat your pork, no brother, man. That's your business. But you have to know an ounce of prevention is better than a pound that cure you. Big on your sense. Don't wait. It has so much thing. It has prostate cleanse. You will wait until your prostate, you get up to urinate and keep quiet. You have to be wicked to yourself, man. You have to be wicked to yourself. So, it is now 10:46 on my time. So, we're going to open the telephone lines again. And let me see if I can take some calls. And keep in mind, you can check us out on Facebook, Batson Associates Limited. On Instagram, we are Batson Associates TT. There was something I promised you guys that I actually had planned for today, which was a launch that I was going to do, not here, but guide you in that direction. So just bear with me. We're actually pushing it for the end of the month because I think it would have been better and I would have gotten a chance to do all what I needed to do. So I haven't forgotten you guys. So stay tuned. You're going to get information next week. And of course, that special that we're having with the testing package, you could also check us out with that. And those telephone numbers for the office, you can give us a call at 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That's 314-9975. Over to you, sir.
Somebody is asking here, let's see, how much bottle of the iOptics formula would you have to use in order for the cataract to dissolve or to disappear?
All right. Okay, that's a good question. Okay, so the thing is, if you have been diagnosed, it depends on the cataract that you have. So there are cataracts that are basically green or new cataracts, they call them. Those are very small. Those are very easy to get rid of. So maybe by 1-2 bottles of the iOptics, you shouldn't have a problem again. Then you have mature cataracts. Now, those mature cataracts are a little more difficult to deal with, especially depending on what you may have been exposed to. So you usually find people who, again, work in oil and gas, people who work with a lot of chemicals, people who work with paints, hairdressers, those type of persons, their cataracts are usually worse because of all the chemicals that they would have been exposed to. So in a case like that, if you're using the iOptics alone, I wouldn't recommend iOptics alone for a mature cataract. I've had enough experience, which is why we brought the MSM eye drop, and we also brought in the Sincera eye drop. So in a case like that, what you may have to do is use the MSM and the Sincera for a mature cataract. Okay, so I don't know which category you fall in. You could always message us again and give me some more information, and we could go from there.
All right, what she says that it is mild, and thank you very much.
Okay, good.
All right, let's see. Good morning. I want to know the exact time this program starts on a Sunday so I don't miss the next one. My wife especially needs to hear this, and I want the dog to talk just as he's talking now next week. Well, my friend.
Yeah, you don't want to worry about that. That's a regular thing.
That you don't have to worry about at all. At all. Don't even believe most of the messages today. Just, boy, this man, boy. Hey, this man, old boy. Hey, oh, he's so bad. Tears.
Don't worry, daddy love. Yeah, that's the love. I tell you, I'm doing this long enough, man. It didn't make no sense to see people. Yeah.
And play nice with people.
Now,
let's see. Good morning. I wanted to know real quickly, what was Santulan? Santulan.
Oh.
Santulan. And if it can, if I use it, if I can use it because I have hypertension.
Okay, cool. All right, yes. So this apparently is a new listener.
You
have to be. So Santulan is a 7-channel detox that we sell at Batson and Associates. It's a liquid detox. It's basically 3 tea bags that you steep, and it gives you a gallon or 4 liters of tea, which you put in your refrigerator, and you would drink anywhere in the vicinity of 1 8 ounce to 2 8 ounces to maybe 4 8 ounces for the day. Usually, if it is you're drinking 1 8-ounce, we usually recommend that you use it like maybe 11 a.m. or 5 p.m. Reason being, if you drink it 5 p.m., you can use it and work, because a lot of times people have to take time off or do detoxes on the weekend. With Santulan, if you drink it at 5 p.m., you would get a bowel movement. Either Santulan gives you a bowel movement anywhere between 4 to 6 to 8 hours after you use it. It depends on the individual. So you would get a bowel movement either late in the night or early in the morning, so that you can resume your work as normal the next morning, right? If it is things really bad with you, you may be looking at losing weight, because it does help you lose weight, but you do not lose weight that you do not have. Because some people who are very slim, they say, oh God, I'm not using Santulan, I'll lose weight. Santulan will make you lose waste. Because most of the people who, when they use the Santulan and think they lose weight, because your belly just go down and think, it's not weight you lose, you lost waste. W-A-S-T-E and not W-E-I-G-H-T. Okay? And that's basically how you use it. It is what I would advise you if your blood pressure is really bad. So you have real terrible hypertension, and you may have had hypertension for years. What I suggest you do, we do not want you to use Santulan just like that, because you could end up in healing crisis. What is healing crisis? Healing crisis is when toxins try to leave your body faster than you want them to leave, and it can have an adverse reaction. So it could cause you to get maybe headaches, it can elevate the blood pressure, it can cause you to get breakouts on your skin and that type of thing. So what we would suggest for someone like that is deduce whether you are hydrated or not. How do you know whether you're hydrated or not? Simple. Your body weight divided by 2 in ounces. You should have been drinking that amount of water continually for the last month to 3 months. So let's say 180 pounds, half of 160, sorry, half of 160 is 80. You should have been drinking 80 ounces of water on a daily basis consistently for the past 30 to 90 days. So once you have been doing that, then you can use Santulan. The only people who we do not recommend to do Santulan is dehydrated persons, which I just explained if you do not fall in the category of the half the body weight divided by ounces between 30 to 90 days, or someone who is anemic. An anemic person is someone who has low blood count. It's not that you can never use Santulan. However, what we need to do, we'd have to build your blood count up first, determine what is the reason for your low blood count. If you are female and you may have problems with endometriosis, fibroids, polycystic ovaries, ovarian cyst, endometriosis, and you have a very heavy menstrual cycle, then we may have to adjust that for you first before you use the Santulan. I think I cover everybody there.
I think that's it. Let's take a quick voice note here.
Good morning, Dr. Batson. In listening to the program, can you please give a listing of, for example, of chiropractor that you refer to or you suggest being the best?
Okay. Well, the thing is, that's a good question. I could only suggest who I know. I'm actually trying now to get a bigger database of persons like that. I have exceptional dealings with Mr. Narayan Budu in Maracas, St. Joseph, simply because he deals with my family, he deals with me, he deals with my mom, right? So I could definitely recommend him. But as I said, I'm now extending my database because Mr. Budu has informed me that I'm giving him more work than he can handle. Because I sent everyone, I sent everyone there. The man good, he good. But I understand that there are some other people, and I'm sure there are some other people, so I'm trying to get myself familiar with the individuals so that I could actually make some recommendations. But you can't go wrong with a good massage therapist. There's also a very good massage therapist that I know as well. I will get their information and maybe next week. But I'll speak to them before and I could share it because, as I said, I am a big person as it relates to the musculoskeletal system and having alignment done. It's just like a vehicle. Nobody drives a vehicle for any extended period of time and don't go and have it aligned and have your wheels camber and whatever the case may be that they need to do, so your body is the same. A lot of us walking around and we are out of alignment. Women especially, and I know it's a very private thing for women. I'm actually trying to find some female chiropractors because some women kind of are a little uncomfortable to have a male deal with them. I know of a very good one in South. I actually have to get her information. I know for COVID, because of COVID, she wasn't doing anything. But women, the reason why women need to be a little more exposed to that is because, especially if you had children a lot of women do know what problems their body go through after pregnancy. Yeah? You know, the old wives and them had tales where they used to put women, you know, put you over castor oil, you know, give you castor oil to drink and put you to stoop over back and no bush and all these type of things and tie up your belly for a period of time, rub your belly. Those things worked, eh? But these young ladies now, they don't know about that, you know, and a lot of them, you know, you just make child and you're gone, and then it's because you have lining, coal and all these type of things. So, you know, we, as I said, we live in the information age. There are a lot of things now you can actually search on the internet, you could get information and help yourself.
All right, let's take these calls. Good morning to you.
Dr. Batson.
Yes, good day.
I am well over 90 years old.
That's good, man.
96,
Whoa,
to be precise.
good.
And I do not have any prostate problem.
Good.
Am I still vulnerable to prostate problem?
Okay.
96 years old, I do not have any prostate problem. But I'm asking the question, am I still vulnerable to prostate problem? Thank you.
That's a good question. Yes, you are, you know. I mean, well, I should say yes and no in the sense that the thing is, once we are alive, we're prone to some kind of thing. I mean, if you have reached the age of 96 and you don't have any prostate problems, it means what you're doing working. So I believe once you continue doing what you're doing, you sound energetic. I know you are a man who, you know, is quite spiritually grounded. I've heard some programs where you call and give some information on the Bible. I was quite impressed. So continue doing what you're doing. And, you know, as we always say, you know, ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Just take your little, you know, your little in between. A very good thing for men to use, which a lot of them don't know, is apple cider vinegar, right? You know, you can just take a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in some water, use a straw, don't allow it to touch your the teeth, and it does help because, you know, apple cider vinegar is antibiotic, it is antiviral, antifungal, so it does help in that, because one of the things they found is that prostatitis, which is infection of the prostate, is actually one of the leading causes of BPH, which is benign prostatic hypoplasia, which is swelling of the prostate. So hypoplasia, that swelling of the prostate, is what a lot of men are developing, and you know, by using that apple cider vinegar, you know, intermittently, you know, you could do 1 teaspoon in 8 ounces of water, maybe for like about 2 weeks, then you rest it for 2 weeks. You use it. If you have a problem with burning, which I know some people have, because how I use mine with the inflammation formula and the advanced chlorophyll. I just mix all of them together. 1 tablespoon advanced chlorophyll, 1 tablespoon inflammation formula, and 1 teaspoon of the apple cider vinegar. I mix it in 8 ounces of water, and I would drink that ever so often. It's very good. It does help significantly. So that's something that you could also pay attention to.
All right. So let's see. Back to the board here. What is your body telling you if you are getting migraines with dizziness?
If you're getting migraines with dizziness, you need to watch yourself. Possibly you are dehydrated. Most people who have migraines, you need to get some alkaline water. Remember, alkaline water is a premium alkaline water. Premium. And listen to me, that water has ORP, which is oxidative reduction potential, which makes the water an antioxidant water. It is also a water that has the ability to remove toxins from the cells and from a cellular level, because the water is a microclustered water, which means the particle size is even smaller. So that's something. It could also be indication of a cleanse. So again, Santulan, 7-channel detox, cleans kidney, colon, bloodstream, liver, lymphatic system, skin, and your lungs. So that's something you need to pay some close attention to as well there.
Right. Next up, let's take a call. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Dr. Batson.
Morning, sir.
Well, Dr. Batson, I don't know if it's active.
Yeah.
So, I don't think comment on it.
Right.
Dr. Batson, I took the vaccine Telefon 1 and the Telefon 2, right? So, now, I'm hearing something, I know you're an expert, that we should take a third one. Now, here's this thing coming about third one. They will say like from the age over 60, 1 and 2 and the full vaccine, how come the third one is recommended now? Is it that the first one and the fourth and the second one was the right dosage or anything? So then that was up to 3 and said 160 or some people have comorbidity with stages arrest, but some people, even though they were vaccinated, they still die. And so I don't know, it's just a such a black and white at this point. But I am up to see about taking into vaccine because if you're doing 1 and 2, I believe that the WHO and who should know that is not for me. And I think what it is, because then if you have the variant and you have this new variant now coming, which is what do they call it?
The Delta?
So if Delta come now, so when Delta comes and Delta 2 come now, so then we get next vaccine again, and Delta 3 from everything. So I want to clarify that because if you give a vaccine, you have to make sure that you clarify that 1 and 2 as a termination, now you're going out to say about 3, so by the 3 and 4. If you give it to physical and just touch on the slide, if you want, that is a fixed point, I would like you.
All right. Okay. What I'm going to say about this. The thing is, we are all aware of what has been going on for the past 2 years, as regards to the vaccine, COVID-19, and that type of thing. Prior to that, I have always been an advocate of health, primarily, right? And I've always been an advocate of natural immunity. More so during COVID, more so whether you're vaccinated or you're not vaccinated, regardless of the type of vaccine that you have gotten. So I am the type of person, I try to stay out of the politics for a number of reasons. So basically what I would say, focus on your natural immunity. What does that mean? That simply means that there are certain foods, there are certain exercises, there are certain aspects associated with meditation. I touched on spirituality a little earlier, and focus on that and build your immunity, because in the final analysis, remember, we're dealing with mankind here, we're not dealing with God. One thing I've learned in the 42 years that I have been on the earth is that mankind will always disappoint you, always. But God don't disappoint anybody. So God gave you an immune system that is quite functional. And once you give your body the right things, your little rough skin lemon in water, your little half teaspoon or 1 teaspoon of baking soda, or water first thing in the morning, as I mentioned, your apple cider vinegar, and then if we go up, move things to things like immune formula, the immune tea that we carry at Batson Associates, Santulan, the Alkagen water, black seed oil, and the list goes on and on, your vitamin D3, which I've been an advocate of for years. I mean, I now hear people talking about vitamin D3. Vitamin D3, I had to learn about vitamin D3 in one of the first courses I do in nutrition. Things like selenium and those type of things. So, boss man, what I could say is that, you build your natural immunity, because one of the things that Egypt has said, and I pay attention to places like Egypt and Israel, because those people are some scientists that are different. They're very, very brilliant people. One of the things that Egypt showed recently, and I think it was highlighted in the New England Journal of Medicine, is that they showed that even if you are vaccinated, it is very plausible and very likely that what you need to do is ensure that you boost your natural immunity, because the vaccine itself is not 100% foolproof. And this is the scientists saying that. So, they themselves have proven, because we know of persons who have been vaccinated, who have been infected, who have been reinfected, and who have subsequently died. As I say, staying out of all the politics, you need to build your natural immunity for you and your family. There are a number of ways you could do that. I have shared some of those just a while ago, and I will continue to share that. And that's where you need to focus on. Don't get involved in the politics. All right, boss man. So I hope I answered your question sufficiently, and I hope it was of benefit to the rest of the listening audience.
My friend, for radio purposes, that was excellent. That was excellent.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So a 31-year-old male is asking if inflammation would be the cause of, or can be a cause for his lower back pain?
Go again, if he said inflammation.
Yeah, if inflammation can be a cause for his lower back pain.
Yeah, of course, definitely. The thing is, once you're dealing with pain, inflammation is present. Even if your pain is just like recently inflicted, like an injury. So, I don't know, you must do kickboxing, you went and you do some kickboxing, you get a kick in your head. That's inflammation. You fall down, or you fell, you hit. Because remember, inflammation is swelling, you know. Inflammation is always accompanied by swelling. So if you bounce your hand, you hit your hand, you get a blow, you fall down, it's going to swell. Now, the thing is, you may have acute inflammation or chronic inflammation, where that inflammation is concentrated in the cerebral not in the cerebral hemisphere, sorry, in the musculoskeletal system, in the spine. So you might be told that you have sciatica or you have herniated disc. Now, the thing is, in dealing with that situation, you must have a two-pronged approach. And the two-pronged approach is you have to deal with the person who is the setter of bones, so the chiropractor, the massage therapist, and you also have to deal with people like myself, where my specialization in clinical nutrition, I could actually now give you specific nutrients to now correct that inflammatory condition apart from the physical manipulation that the chiropractor would do. So you have to do those two things simultaneously in order to have excellent results.
All right, let's take a call. Good morning to you.
Morning. Dr. Batson.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you hear me?
I'm hearing you, sir.
Go right ahead.
I have a prostate problem, but I bought the prostate tea
Right,
and the male enhancement tea for me with the water, right?
right.
All right, so I have normally I take a tablet the doctor recommended. I don't know if I can call the name on the air.
Yeah, what it is? Terazocin?
No,
Flomax?
Judah.
Deodat. Okay, right.
Right, so I want to know if I take the prostate tea and the information tea, if it's safe to take Judah still.
Yeah, of course you can use that. That's not a problem. But let me ask you something. Since you started using the water and the prostate tea and the prostate formula, you saw any change at all?
Here what up. My first 3 days I used the tea and the water. I get sick, right? And I had to go to the doctor and he said I get information. So my company thought was the tea causing it, but I don't think it was that. So I didn't stop it.
Right.
Right. So I probably something else caused that, but probably as I take that, I think that I get this infection because I take in this too much of rose and prostate tea and so on.
Right.
So I rest on the water. I have the water and the prostate tea and the information tea still.
Right.
So I went to the doctor and he gave me blood test and he had inflammation and so on. So I get some medication. I got normal, right?
Right. He gave you some antibiotics. So he told you you had an infection, correct?
Infection. Sorry,
Right.
infection.
Good.
Right. So he had treated me and I feeling good now. So I have the tea and thing and the water. I want to make us continue still.
Of course, yeah, definitely.
Right. And is it safe with the prostate tea that I could take
The Deodat? Yeah, definitely. But let me ask you something. So the doctor would have done what? You did what? A PSA? You did a prostate ultrasound? What it is you did?
He did a blood test. I don't know what you said. He just did a blood test.
Right.
And an infection and he gave me some trips and so on. Because very weak, yeah?
No.
You know?
No. Oh, no. We're asking. Prior to that. So we're talking about prior to you coming to me and prior to the infection. How did you know that you have a prostate problem? What it is you did? You did an ultrasound?
I told you already. I had a high prostate. Last time it was 40.
A high PSA.
I do the MRI and so on, and the thing is like this. So no, I don't want to take me for a
biopsy?
Yeah.
Okay. You be careful with that. Huh?
I know, but this is why. So
Here is my suggestion. Here is my suggestion to you. I will tell you information and I could tell you on the radio that will remain radio friendly. If you have a prostate problem, so if your PSA is 40 something, it could have a number of reasons why your PSA that elevated. Well, there are a number of reasons why a man's PSA could be elevated, including if he goes and do a test and he has had sexual relations a week before. When men doing PSA, you're not supposed to have any relations 7 days prior to that. Most people don't know that because that could give you an elevated PSA. But barring that, 40-something is still too high. My suggestion is this. If I was you, I would have...
I had a catheter on me and just I did it just so I figured that's why I get that high reading.
Of course. But they put in the catheter because you had what? Stoppage of water?
Yeah, problem.
Yeah, no. You need to be careful. You need to be very careful. What I suggest you do, talk to me. If it is the 314-9975 number.
Which one?
314-9975.
314-9975.
Yeah. Message that number and let them know. Well, based on the conversation.
I have a problem, so I can't let it.
Oh, you are a call. Okay, well, no problem. Call. Bastamante. Yeah, laser them and them. Yeah, because that's a serious thing. You don't want nobody go and don't nobody do no biopsy on you. That is you're gonna call it. You're gonna cause problems. Don't let nobody do that.
Well, I'll visit Mr. Batson tomorrow. And I'll then get back to Milan.
All right, good, no problem.
So I could continue back the
yeah, you could continue back the tea and that type of thing.
Right, I don't want to keep it back too long, but the tea, the positive tea and the middle enhancement tea, how should I take it at this the 2 1 10 or
No, so you use the prostate tea by itself, you could use that one day, and then the next day you could use the male tea.
Oh, it's 1 day in 1 day out?
Correct.
All right, okay, so I'll get back to you, and Mr. Batson, I'll get back to you and talk to Mr. Batson Monday.
Okay.
A very nice guy, and I'll talk to him and we'll is right.
All right, sir.
So, but I have an appointment to see you on the 8th of next month. But we want to do the biopsy this month and then. So,
no. Let me talk before that. Nobody cut you. All right, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome, sir. Take care of yourself.
All right, doctor. So, seeing as you have just a few minutes again, I'm trying to get many of these questions here quickly, right?
All right.
Number one, some info on how to treat with idiopathic intracranial hypertension, please.
Papa, they send me back to school, boy.
Like if you're going to have to write a dissertation,
Yeah, well, they said I had to write a thesis again.
Yeah.
I kind of have an idea based on the terminology what it is. So it means high blood pressure, intracranial. So inside of the skull, so which means they have some sort of swelling, some sort of pressure inside of there. But that most likely, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna check and see if that's accident based. But in any case, I'm gonna have to do some research and I'm gonna have to check. I'll get back to you. So I don't put my foot in my mouth too much. But I have a fair idea. But the thing is, if you're dealing with any kind of hypertension, let me say this, it means that it could be a number of things. You either have circulation cut off from the cerebral hemisphere, you have circulation restricted as a result of either a vacuum being created. In the case of where someone may have been in an accident, they may have gotten hit in the head or something like that. Because based on what it's saying, that could have been as a result of some sort of injury. Then the approach is going to be almost the same if we're dealing with someone with regular hypertension. But as I say, I'm gonna do some digging, and if there's anything next week, please God, I'll make sure I note it and I will highlight it in the program.
All right, so no problem. So they left a number here, so I'll forward the number to you, Doc. Right. All right. Next up, let's see, where is it going? Doc, is a PSA value of 0.454 good?
A PSA value of 0.445? Yeah, your PSA is supposed to be anywhere between 0 to 4. But let me tell you something quickly, because of the essence of time, very quickly. A PSA is not the most conclusive test as it relates to prostate. There have been persons who did PSA tests and the PSA read 0 and they have prostate cancer. There are people who had PSA tests that read over 100 and nothing was wrong with them. So it is not the most reliable test. Your things like your CT scan, your MRIs. Why I have issue with biopsies, and I'm not the only person, and I've fed up talking to people about this, but some of them will still go and do it, and I mean, it's all well and good, it's your prostate, it's not mine. You're going to have to cut. The doctor is going to have to go in. And the thing is, when they cut the sample, so they actually go in from the bucket, and they use these long scissors-like instruments, And you hear it because they put you under local anesthetic. Very rare do they put you to sleep. And then you hear packs, and they usually take out 12 samples. Now, you hear the problem with biopsies. When you do biopsies, you open yourself up to infection and blood clots. Infection more than blood clots, which is why biopsies in general medicine is not only, I'm not the only person who have disagreements and issues with it. There are a lot of other medical practitioners who didn't even do the type of medicine I do. They are regular MDs and they did the MBBS and surgical professionals and they don't even like it. Why would you do that? Biopsies, you need to be very careful. And biopsy now, they're doing biopsy more than ever in Trinidad and Tobago. Why, I don't know. Where they think they need to push a needle inside of you. Imagine, do you want to do tissue biopsy? Something wrong with your thyroid, they want a biopsy. Something wrong with your lymph node, they want a biopsy. Why are you cutting people up? And why are you allowing people to cut you up? Do not go and allow people to just take biopsies from you. There are other devices that can be used, MRI, CT scan. What are they going to tell you? They're looking for cancer? Oh, really? If you do have cancer and they cut you, what happens to you? Whatever you hear about that? Oh, okay, good. So, let those who have ears listen.
Final two questions here quickly. Right? So one, can you drink the alcogen water for drinking all the time just like you would normal water?
Yes, you can. You can do that. That's not a problem.
All right. And also, last one, can a fully blown sickle cell patient use psyllium fiber powder to regulate their bowel movements?
No, I wouldn't suggest you do that. If you're full-blown sickle cell, you have, well, one, you have a problem with greens, which is why you're sickle cell in the first place. Because all sicklers, which we know has a genetic markers, which is why that's the only way you could end up with sickle cell. But the problem with the person who you got sickle cell from, and even that person, so whether it's your foreparents, is because they had a problems with greens. All blood disorders, sickle cell, thalassemia, all those diseases. And I have successfully treated people with sickle cell already, to the point where their hospital visits was, I had dealt with someone who was going to the hospital almost every day. The person reached to the point where they didn't even have, I think they were actually discharged from the clinic to tell you the type of results that they got. So I wouldn't suggest somebody with full-blown sickle, use psyllium fiber. You need to be careful with that. If you have problems with constipation, it could be based on the medication, but it could also be based on your hydration. What I would try to do is increase my water intake, or you increase your water intake, and look at how your body responds from there. But that psyllium could put you in some problems, especially based on the medication that you would be using for the sickle cell.
All right, so that is the time that we have for today, my friend. Thank you so very much.
You're very welcome, sir. This program was, but this was an interesting program, very interesting program. So, So, those telephone numbers again, you can give us a call on 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That's 314-9975. Those locations, we are located on the first floor of Money Talks building. That is Money Talks building in Montrose, Chaguanas. We are also on the corner of Ramson Woods Trace and the SS Erie Main Road in Davie, as well as Red Edge Mall, Western Main Road, St. James, and Tobago is the Triangle building in Scarborough, Tobago. Listeners of Sky 99.5, always a pleasure to be in your company. And until next week, Sunday, as we always say at Batson and Associates, if you think health is expensive, try sickness. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. I will continue on WhatsApp, on Facebook for a little bit. And Mr. Dominic, sir, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. God bless.
God bless, man.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Take care, sir. Yes, Facebook family. So that was a lot of talk in there. A pleasant good morning to people like Mr. Savage, sorry. I saying, y'all was having a ball on Facebook here, boy. So Facebook, I did touch on some of your questions, and someone was asking about migraine headache, which he was seeing too. So I did answer that particular question. So well, that brings our program to an end. Thank you for the hearts. It's always a pleasure to be in your company. I'm going to go through some of your questions subsequent to this, because I know a lot of persons regarding overseas shipping were asking some questions. So we're going to go through that and fix you guys. Expect some calls. We're going to, yes, Miss John, thank you so very much. God bless you. I hope you're going to enjoy your Sunday. Miss Asha Femi, pleasant good day to you. And Miss Ashton, autism and ADHD. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to deal with ADHD in detail next week, please, God. So I have to answer that question with the cranial hemorrhaging, and I also have to answer the question with autism. So I think it's going to be better I put that in our next program. Shakil is, of course, going to remind me. I'm going to go from there. It's always a pleasure to be in your company, guys, on a Sunday. Make sure that Sunday lunch that you're having today, make sure you have some salad, plenty callaloo, less down on the macaroni pie, right? God bless you guys. And as we always say at Batson and Associates, if you think health is expensive, try sickness. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Facebook, check out that information that I'm going to post for you guys regarding your financial health. I haven't forgotten you. It's just, we just needed to change up things as opposed to having the launch this Sunday. We're going to push it till the end of the month. So look forward to that. And you guys enjoy the rest of your days. Take care of yourself. God bless.